Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we are playing no reserve list Merfolk. That's right, this entire deck can be purchased for like $500 US. Pretty awesome that you can get a fairly tuned Legacy deck that can actually win with $500 US in 2025. So I've already played a league with this and I 5-0'd with it. It's pretty strong. And I published that league on my new Japanese channel because I wanted to do a league in Japanese, and I'm going to do some more Japanese leagues, but don't worry, I'm going to be doing a lot of English leagues too. So this is a very strong deck where the threats just get stronger and stronger and synergize with one another. We have 12 Lord effects named after Lord of Atlantis, the alpha card, that gives all Merfolks +1/+1 and Island Walk. Island Walk being quite relevant in Legacy because most fair decks splash blue at some point, and you can also give your opponent islands with Tideshaper, which is an awesome one drop that has a kicker. The goal of the deck as a tempo deck is really to just get a vial on the ground and then just start wasting them, start dazing their threats, start abusing the fact that your mana is expanding every turn while your opponent's is not. We have Rishodon Dockhand, which is a new addition to the deck. I like having more one drops, so I cut a True Name, I cut Phantasmal Image because it does die instantaneously to like Bowmaster. And this, if you look, Rishodon Dockhand has 2 toughness, pretty nice, and it has native Island Walk as well. So even if for some reason your other Merfolk don't have Island Walk, you can still attack in for a guaranteed damage every turn. I am rocking Silvergill Adept. I'm not sure about this card because Orcish Bowmasters is everywhere, but it's an alright card. But the card I'm really excited about that's been doing a lot of work is Flood Pits Drowner. This is a new one from the Duskmourn set, and it comes in with Flash, like all good Merfolks. I guess not all good Merfolks, but many good Merfolks have Flash. And it hits the table, it stuns a creature, and then you can even go to your attack step, attack with it. It has Vigilance. And then before the end of your turn, you can activate the ability where you essentially shuffle that creature that you stunned back into your opponent's deck. And you do lose the Flood Pits Drowner in the process, but if you're taking out like a huge Murktide or Baragoi or something like that, it's absolutely worth it. This can target even like an Atraxa or some huge threat that you otherwise would not be able to deal with. Blue does not have good removal, and this is about as good as it gets. One note that a lot of people in the Merfolk Discord were curious about is why I'm not playing Cavern of Souls. And the reason is I think that no single one of these cards has to resolve. It's not that big of a deal. If they get countered, it's a 1-for-1, maybe even a 2-for-1 if they're forcing like a True Name or something like that. And it's just nice to always have islands so you can daze, and always have islands so you can cast your double blue spells. I am excited to have 4 Sink into Stupor here. I think that the ability to bounce spells or permanents back to your opponent's hand is great in a tempo deck. Sideboard's super simple. We've got a bunch of blasts. We've got 4 Force of Negation for combo matchups. We've got 3 Grafdigger's Cage for Oops All Spells and Reanimator. We have 3 Harbingers since it synergizes so well with the deck and is just so good against lands and Urza Saga decks and stuff. I was just like, yeah, let's just jam 3 of them in. And then Hull Breacher. And if you watch the other league, again, it's in Japanese, but I do get to snipe some Ponders with Hull Breacher, which is really fun. So that's the deck. We're going to play a full 5 rounds. Hopefully have a lot of fun. See you in round 1. All right, round 1, we're up against Painter on the draw. Likely Painter player. Got an okay hand. I mean, you keep most of the hands with this. It's worth noting that you don't have Brainstorm, Ponder, Fetchlands. Like, there's no way to like, oh, this is not Painter. That sees me. Okay, so we're against a combo or potentially blue-black tempo. I like our blue-black tempo matchup. I don't like our combo matchup. I say that, and I did slice through 4 combo decks yesterday with this deck, so we can beat combo. It's just we don't have Thoughtseize. We don't have like Spell Pierce and like a lot of other cards that make combo easier. Okay, so what does it mean that they took the Hexcatcher? It probably means they're on combo, because like, why would you care about this if you had Bowmasters in your deck? We don't have a turn 1 play, but we did draw a Force. So let's hope that they think it's safe to go and they do something dramatic and we can just force. I'm just planning to curve out my Merfolk here. Brainstorm. Meyer. I'm getting blue-black tempo vibes, but I could be wrong. But they haven't stuck a threat, and that's like the number one thing you do when you're blue-black tempo, stick like a Nethergoyf. They're just cantering a bunch, which makes me think they're... Oh, there's Tommy. Yeah, I don't care about Tommy. Tommy is for long games, and we are not going to give them a long game. All right. I mean, we could just stun her. It's not the worst. And then we start stacking... Because I'm not actually going to put her into their deck. I can wait until before combat, and then I can flash Flood Pit in. And if they daze, it's a bummer. But it does get the daze out of the way of the Lords, which are probably more important for actually dealing combat damage. So let's drown. High likelihood of a daze here. Oh, wow. Didn't anticipate that. Now they can brainstorm and get a Planeswalker. If they do that, I'm fine with that. They probably have Bowmasters here. I'll force a Bowmaster. Yeah, I think they're on a tempo deck. I'm just going to pitch one of these sinks. If they blow out with the daze, it's okay. But they didn't daze this. Okay, that's really good for us. This Bowmaster is a pain because currently Flood Pit Drowner is a 1/1. I am going to play this out untapped. I'm not concerned about my life total. I'm concerned about... Well, they didn't have daze. I could just play this out tapped. Maybe he's kind of greedy to do so. But they are a tempo deck. I mean, like, there's a decent chance that the 3 life will matter here. So I'll go ahead and stick the Lord. Okay. Now we can attack for 3. Vigilance, which is nice. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to play this out just to have a 3rd land. It's possible this gets wasted, which is fine. Okay, and next turn we have Sink into Stupor if we need it. With this other Merc, or with this other, I'm so used to calling double blue creatures Mercs. Okay, they're pondering. With this out, then we're in a pretty good position because we're hitting for 4, 5, 6 Island Walk, which would be freaking awesome. They may be looking for like a Nethergoyf for something to block. They may be looking for Fatal Push to kill this Lord. Either of those would make sense. They're brainstorming again to flip Tommy. I don't care. I can just kill Tommy next turn. They would need like a Snuff Out or land and a Fatal Push. And even then, I can't kill Tommy if they do that. But if they don't have exactly land removal here, Tommy's down. It does buy them a turn. They got 0 clues off of her too. It's worth noting. Okay, the plus... Oh my goodness, they don't have anything? That's so good for us. We could Tide Shaper to kick one of their lands, but you know, let's not kid ourselves. Like we're here to kill. Okay, I think it's extremely unlikely. It's extremely unlikely that they can really do anything about this. Do I want to kill Tommy or do I just want to knock her down? I think it's worth just killing her. Kill her. I am going to go ahead and dump this Tide Shaper out. It's not worth it to kick it. It's just more material on the table. Then we've got, like if they stick a giant Merc or Barrow or something, we can sink it and we can we kill them? Let's see. This is a 4/4, 3/3. So that's 10, 14. We have lethal on the table, unblockable. This is on the draw, mind you, against a tempo deck. Pretty chill. So in this matchup, I don't think there's really any major changes to make. I think True Name is better than Hull Breacher. Hull Breacher is good. Don't get me wrong. Well, I think it's a Bowmaster matchup. I think I'm actually going to cut a couple of Silver Gills and just bring in Hull Breacher. I know that it's higher curve, but nothing feels worse than casting a Silver Gill or like a Baleful Strix or any sort of ETB draw a card creature with 1 toughness and just having it killed instantly. Like, you don't want to be top decking that. We could just take out the forces if they're on. Yeah, I think actually we just take these out. Maybe we keep these. That we could go all the way up to 3 Harbinger. It can disrupt them if they don't. No, it feels wrong to do that. It feels dumb to do that. I think I'm just going to bring that in. I'll leave 2 forces in. All right. Yeah, we're not wanting to get 1 for 2 by them. So force is not a good, like, unless they're somehow secretly Reanimator, in which case game 3 is going to be interesting. This hand has a lot of juicy 1-drops, but it doesn't have a path to a second land. We could just never find the second land. I mean, we have stuff to do in the meantime. So we're drawing to 19 lands and 53 cards, and we're on the draw. I think I'm going to keep this. We don't have any lords, but I don't think that that's a big deal. Dockhand's pretty bad against what they're doing over there. We didn't get a land. I'm going to just Tide Chipper because it can pressure Tommy better than Richard on Dockhand. So this is a 2/2. If they flip Tommy, we can at least take one loyalty off every turn so she doesn't ultimate immediately. Yeah, maybe this wasn't a keep. I'll be really disappointed if I don't find a land in the next 2 turns. But you don't, like in these kind of tempo mirrors, these fair mirrors, you don't really want to mulligan unless you absolutely have to. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm just going to stick another Tide Chipper. Dockhand's like particularly weak against clue tokens because if you invest the money, they can just... What are they going to do here? They're going to pay for days? I will happily daze this right back. Oh, they're cracking clue? Okay. Well, I am going to daze you right back. And you could have just floated. Maybe they didn't have the days. Maybe they wanted to see what they were going to draw. But I question that play. And also this gives us yet another land that we a creature that we can play out. So we do have a little bit more aggro going. We can go to beats. I mean, for like one land, we've successfully done like 4 things this game. That's pretty good. Like we actually yielded mana off that days, which is crazy, but it does come up sometimes. Like that's one of the reasons Delver has such a low land count. Okay, so rather than playing the land that they fetched off of this, so we know they have at least 1 land in hand. So they gave us information they didn't need to by playing out that second fetch. Do they have a brainstorm here? Unfortunately, we can merely keep Tamio in stasis. We can't kill her. I'm optimistic the True Name will be very good against their deck. They'll probably Thought's it out of our hand right now. If they had Brainstorm, they probably would have cast it before they fetched, but we do know they have an additional land. No, they're not going to Brainstorm this turn, I don't think. Because it wouldn't make sense to... You'd want to Brainstorm before you fetched. Okay, so we're going to be able to come in for another hug. That's all we can do. We are going to hit them for 5, though. I think this is superior to using Dockhand. Just getting that extra damage. Okay. So our puny little offensive is probably just going to get completely invalidated by Bergoyf, and we'll go to game 3. But I'm going to hold out hope. Like a Bowmaster is not catastrophic for us because all our 1-drops have 2 toughness, which... Oh, they are on freaking Entomb. Okay, we're dead. Yeah. This makes the sideboarding a little easier, though, because we definitely bring in cages if they're playing this card. And I'll bring forces back in. So we'll definitely be taking those Harbingers out. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Like, and that's where like Entomb's just a really annoying card. It is like the dedication that you need to a Reanimator strategy is so small. It's like, 10 cards basically. Like 4 Entombs, 4 Reanimators, 2 fatties worth entombing. And then you can just play a normal blue-black, tempo game, and people don't even know until the end of game 2 that you are a Reanimator deck, actually. All right, and of course they're reanimating, so I will sack this Richardon dude. I'll discard maybe this Flood Pits. They're at 1? If this Flood Pits resolves, we can win. No, they gain 4 life. They gain 4 life. Ooh, yeah, we can actually win. We can actually win. Huh. Okay, well, I'm going to discard True Name. So I want to Flood Pits this, but if I can resolve a Master, then we can just attack for 4 and kill them. I think the odds of us successfully doing that are vanishingly small, but if our deck wants to do us a big solid right now, deck, if you want to give me a freaking land, they crack the clue. Okay, this flips her. Okay, so no, we can't kill anymore. We do need to Flood Pits. And then, yeah, I think our hope for victory. Wait, actually... This buffs them, so the debuff, we still survive, and we still get in. Island, please, any of 19 remaining mana sources in the deck, except for that one. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to stun 2 turns in a row and hope that they can't daze this. I mean, that's literally all we're doing. And I do think it's correct to just do it now so we can at least hit the Tommy. No, we just hit them. We just hit them. They don't have... Like, what are they going to regrow? They could regrow... Okay, they had the days. All right, good game. Yeah, we're dead. Okay. Yeah, if we draw... Like, it wouldn't have mattered because they had the days. Okay. So now, as I said, like, against Reanimator, they could juke off of it completely, but it's 3 cards. It's not that big of a deal. And this card just completely locks down, like, 10 cards out of their deck are irrelevant. So it's a very good anti-graveyard card. Cards that come out, maybe they don't have the full 4 Bowmasters if they're on a Reanimator strategy. So maybe these Silver Gills are not as bad as they seemed. But we're on the play, so Daze is pretty damn good here. This dock hand was kind of like a last minute addition. I wanted more 1-drops, and it does survive against Bowmasters, and it does have native Island Walk, but I'm not sure about it in this matchup. I am kind of thinking taking out the... I think I'm going to take out the Silver Gills just out of respect for Bowmaster. It's also a card that they could reanimate. They could get value out of. Like, reanimating a Lord of Atlantis just helps me, actually. The reanimating True Name is genuinely bad for us, but unless we have Island Walk. Again, we do have 8 things that give us Island Walk. So I think the other cut is probably... Hull Breacher is meh. I'll just do 1. Because the likelihood of us getting that far into the game is low. Like I genuinely think we either stop their combo and close quickly, or they just outvalue us. This is not a keep. Wait. This is a keep. I don't think they have a way to stop Vile. Other than like forces. And we're on the play. So we just play a land. Like I'll probably play at the Wasteland. Then I can Vile. And then, I'll play this out. I'm going to play this out. I'll Vile. And then the card I will pitch will probably just be True Name, just because it'll take us a while to get up there. Yeah. I don't like going low on cards in this type of matchup. We've already got a Force hand. It's not a Force plus Cage hand, but it'll work. Vile is still a good card. Don't listen to what Thraben Yu says. He says Vile has been power crept out of the format. I'm about to show you why Vile is still viable. Like what I did there. Let's go ahead and play this. Yes, I'd like to pay the 3 life. Vile, I will force to protect this if you force. I don't imagine Force is in your deck. But that's one of the things is like every Force of Will deck is going to be taking the forces out of their deck against Merfolk. Here, this is great. They're going to waste this. This is fine. I knew they were going to waste something, and now we have a Wasteland for their land, and we're never going to cast a spell. We're just going to use Vile the entire time. And we'll use Force to protect Vile. I kind of want to like just get them all hubrisy by not playing a land. That might sound crazy. They may go get a basic swamp now. Yeah, maybe that was a misplay. I should have waited. Sorry, my excellent friends. Yeah, and if I play at the Wasteland, I just give them even more reason. Now, Daze is an issue, though. Yeah, so I'm going to waste this for sure after I attack. All right, we're ramping up toward True Name. Let's see. Just in case, I'm going to play this out, and then I'll attack first. And then I'm going to wait till upkeep to waste. So, Dockhand is definitely stapled to Force here. Would you like to brainstorm or do anything like that? This prevents them from having the mana to Bowmaster me. That's fine. Get an imperfect brainstorm there right before you draw. They're looking at 8 cards. I think once we start stamping out True Names, as long as they don't reanimate, we're okay. They don't know that we have the second Wasteland. They would know that, and they would just fetch around it had we played the Wasteland out. So it's high risk, high reward, because basically our Force was not Daze protected for turn cycle, and our Force is not currently Daze protected. But they may fetch another Underground Sea here just because they need their colors, and then we have a second waste. Oh, baby. They did it. They're thinking about whether to entomb now. No, just ponder. Okay. This is why Wasteland is so good with Vile. Because we are advancing our game plan every single turn, and they are not, because we're just, instead of using mana, we're using Vile, and we're just wasting. This is the definition of tempo. I am going to tick this up, and we're just going to assume that these 2 True Names in our hand are going to get the job done. That's a freaking draw, isn't it? Well, I do think we need to play it out before we waste them, just because it's so powerful against them. I'm going to go ahead and attack first because I don't want them to like Daze and then not have a Wasteland target. But like this is actually going to be tapped, so it doesn't matter. Cage, let's pass. Okay, they had a second land. They could borrow now. Get the cage out of the way. They scoop. Holy cow, they didn't even see the freaking True Names. We probably had like 3 combo pieces in their hand or something. See you in round 2. Round 2, we're up against a fan of the channel. Opponent is on an unknown deck. I think we've got a curve. That's good. We've got 3 lands. That's great. I mean, we're not doing anything fancy or broken. We're basically playing standard here, but let's do it. Yeah, I'm not going to throw back a hand that is just decent all around. And this is one of the reasons I asked, out of the dock hand, I wanted to have more 1-drops just so we could curve out like a standard deck. It looks like they might be on Omnitel, maybe Storm. Oh, this is a cool card. Untap target artifact or creature. Ron Spencer art. One of my favorite artists. Yeah, very cool. Okay, so I'm going to read the card. Alfeto Alchemist. Tap, untap target artifact or creature. And it's got a morph ability that probably nobody uses in Legacy. Okay. I think we just do this overkill, or the dock hand, and we pass. And we're going to learn about their deck. They may be playing, like, they wouldn't be playing Time Vault, but something of like that kind of power level where it's like a difficult to untap permanent, or it doesn't untap on its own, and they're giving it a hand. Okay, this is not great for us, but if we get lucky, we might be able to find the one that we can kick. They've got a second Alfeto Alchemist. Still no way. Oh, wait. Artifact or creature. Okay. It doesn't interact positively with Saga. But if they get like a big mana artifact, it's funny, like the battle of the 1/2 creatures here. I do have Island Walk, so I could come in for a hit. I think we probably do here. The way to max damage is probably, well, I want to, they're almost certainly just going to create, if they have another land, just create Constructs this turn. So if you think about it, it makes more sense to just Lord here. Yeah, and I think I'm going to Lord Hexcatcher. Actually, we can just Hexcatcher next turn. Yeah, I'll just main phase this. I'll Hexcatcher. I'll main phase the Hexcatcher, and I'll play the Lord attacks for 2 damage. It's such a minor difference. But I like Hexcatcher because I don't know what their deck does. I have absolutely no idea what their deck is going to do here. So at least this way, I'm attacking with a 2/3 Island Walker. If they want to force this or daze this, I'm like all aboard. That's the thing about these types of decks that I think people that are like all on 4 Caverns misunderstand. Is fundamentally, this is like a Delver deck where every single card is basically the same functionally. Just like Delver, it's like either a removal spell or it's a threat or it's a cantrip. Like this is like all threats basically, and a few interaction spells, and that's it. So somebody, spends mana to stop your threat. It's probably a reasonably favorable trade. Okay, Seed of Synod, so they can ramp kind of. They can untap this so they could get like a lot of mana off of this seat. Plagan, a man after my own heart. All right, well, we're going to let this resolve. Kiwi fruit, not my favorite fruit, but I do love me some Plagan. Very cool. They might as well attack unless they want to they're just going to hang back. Okay, well, I'm going to give my dudes Island Walk here. Wow, that's pretty much in time. Okay, so here's the deal. I don't like them being able to search. I do think we waste here. And then we just give both of our creatures Island Walk and we keep hitting. I'm not too scared of getting tempoed out here. And I could take them off green too. It's kind of a tough call. I don't think they have days. I should have actually played the Lord of Atlantis afterward. But I just want to keep the beats coming. And so we're hitting for 5 here. Oh, and had I killed that, then I wouldn't be able to attack. Yeah, that's rationale for not killing that. So we're not doing a lot of fancy stuff here. They have another one. Okay. So I'm probably going to be bringing in... Nadu. Well, they can target Nadu with the Alfeto dude, and they can get a lot of value here. Okay, so this is a trigger. Oh, they just target... What? They just target themselves? That's so broken. I didn't think about that. Okay, so they are going to do Nadu stuff here. I think we can scoop. We can see what their deck does, but it looks like it just does value stuff. Nadu. There's a world in which we can out-aggro them because blue and green are not removal heavy colors. It's possible they don't have removal. There's a Mox Amber. I'm not sure how they win, but I do know that there's a Spell Bomb. So they could bounce like our Lord, and then they could force it on the way back down, and then we don't have Island Walk anymore. That would make sense. Okay, they're just not bothering attacking, which is troubling. They can do this at instant speed too. Chalice. Okay, so we are learning more about their deck. It's not like we're completely wasting time here. Cavern. Okay. I was just saying how Cavern's not very good, but in this exact situation, if they do choose to somehow bounce this, it can be bounced only for blue mana. So they do need to get a land, like an island. There it goes. So now they can activate this, bounce this, and then block our stuff. Something we should be cognizant of. Ancient Tomb. Wow, they've got so much mana. Okay, another Urza Saga. We're not winning this game. I'm just looking at their deck. Like, I can't imagine a world in which we're able to actually attack through all this, because they just spellbomb our Lord and the game's over. Like, if we drew another Lord, we could play it. They would have to force it, but they have plenty of cards to force. The only way we're getting through is like another Lord effect. Tideshaper could kill that Saga. I think what we do, maybe we just play the Hexcatcher. I mean, it does make our creatures big, but if they bounce that back, yeah. I'm going to try to Silvergill into another land. I mean, I could play Sink as a land, and then I can have Hexcatcher up. But if they like force this for some reason and burn their force on that, then I can get more damage through. Okay, so the ability triggers. We do get a Wasteland. Doesn't change anything. I can keep the Sink in my hand. They've got double Urza Saga. I already played my land for turn. Okay, so I'm not going to be doing anything here. I can come in and see if they miss the Lord of Atlantis play. I don't think they will. Yep, good game. Okay, so they're on some crazy Nadu deck with like freaking Chalice in it and stuff. This is a brew. All right. And again, you all know how I feel about Nadu. I've played a lot of Nadu myself. I think it's a annoying card to play against, but I don't think it's like power level broken, and I don't think it needs to be banned. Let's see. Hull Breacher, is that good here? I don't think so. Nadu doesn't draw cards. I mean, they draw cards off Plagan. I don't know. It might be okay. But the card that I'm really reaching for here is the 3 Harbingers. I think their mana base looks like it's garbage. No offense, but like they're not playing freaking, 12 islands in their deck. They're playing like lots of deep cut lands. I think with Ancient Tomb, Days is not really where I want to be. They're not like a traditional combo deck, like that's trying to go off on the stack. They're just trying to combine a bunch of synergistic creatures. Yeah, if we take the Days out, it's kind of like virtually adding lands back to our deck, so that we have the ability to Harbinger. I do think Hull Breacher is fine if they're playing Plagan. They're almost certainly playing cantrips. Maybe we could cut some 1-drops, since they seem to be, well, Dockhand, is that the one to cut? Yeah, I think it's the weaker of the two. They're not playing black, so we don't really worry about them sniping our Tideshapers. Okay, so we basically just added a ton of 3-drops. Hopefully we don't get punished for that. Game 2. This hand's fine. It's got 3 mana sources. It's got a Harbinger, which if we find another land, makes Sync not painful. It's just a slow, steady. Yeah, I'm just going to keep it. We do have Force for Nadu specifically, but we did see Caverns in there. If they don't play the Caverns out in the same turn, it's probably worth wasting it. I'm just going to do this, and I'll pass. I could have played this out tapped. Maybe that was correct. I don't know that they play Wasteland in their deck. I didn't see one. I would be surprised if they're playing Wasteland and Urza Saga in the same deck. Island. Tommy. That's fine. We can do what we did in the first round where we just stunned Tommy during the attack step. All right. Perfect. Island. So what I'll do is I'm just going to wait until the attack step and I'll stun her with the Flood Pit. Then I basically turn her off for like 2 turns instead of just 1. And if they want to flip her, that's fine. It's not like it stops this from coming into play. It just stops the ability. But they aren't going to be able to get a clue for her. There's the Ancient Tomb. This is a big mana spell. 1 ring. Chalice for 2. I actually think that's fine. I'm not going to freak. It does shut off a lot of our cards, but True Name is going to get us there. And I want to hold Force for like actual combo pieces. They spend a lot of resources on this. It doesn't directly impact anything in our hand. We can sink it back into their hand if we need to. Hull Breacher, huh? So now we're faced with an option. 1, we can just stick the Harbinger, have great mana for the rest of the game, them having probably pretty garbage mana. And then maybe we snipe something with Hull Breacher later. Because Tommy is going to eventually unlock, and she'll probably be attacking with clues. Yeah, and this does effectively cut them off a land too. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I guess I should attack first. I'm not interested in putting Tommy back in the deck. I don't think that's what we need to be doing right now. Against a lot of Merfolk decks, like Chalice on 2 would be really strong, but our hand just happened to like be in a way that it's not a big deal. Hopefully they have like Urza Saga and stuff like that in their hand. So Tommy remains stunned. We're getting a full like double time walk on her. Yeah, this Flood Pit Drowner, like I was skeptical. I was like, oh, it's a 2-1. Why didn't they make it a 2-2? But it seems to be pretty good so far. They've got 3 mana. It's going to be very hard for them to cast Nadu if they don't have basic forest in their deck. And again, like I don't expect them to have a lot of removal in those colors. Chalice for 1, that's fine. I'm going to totally ignore that. Like 3 is actually the only thing I care about here. And they countered their own Chalice. That's a bummer. I think that was unintentional. They said, oh man. All right. So now we're going to come in for a hug. I think we just start sticking true names here. I think this is the fastest path to victory. But I kind of want a Hull Breacher here. Yeah, I'm just going to try to get him with the Hull Breacher first. Because Hull Breacher has utility. True name just attacks. They both have the same attack power. This also allows me to just hold up till like the last possible second. And if I manage to snipe a Hull Breacher, everybody tuning in to the Be Excellent channel wants to see Hull Breacher do that. So this doesn't even get to name a creature or anything. Emery comes in. That's fine. Let's see what if she flips. She flipped Lava Spur Boots. And then they've got that Lotus Petal. Overall, not like the most exciting one. Yeah, I don't think Chalice on 1 is even good against this deck. Like we have, and they may not realize how light we are. We have a total of 10 1-drops in the deck. But like they're 1-drops that we don't even care about at this point that are going to be Force Fodder. What is, they're just morphing it? Just as a creature? Okay. Morph. Character from 1 episode of X-Men. That's fine. I'll just Hull Breacher in step. There's no blocking here. They've got 1 card in hand. Hull Breacher comes in. This is a 2/2 creature that can block everything on our board. So we do need a Lord, but we're not actually going to be able to cast a Lord. Actually, this might be really problematic. The fact that it's a 2/2. It stops our onslaught. There's an island. We are working up toward... we could just attack, and if they block, it's okay. I don't want to do it with this. I don't want to... Yeah, I think I just attack with a Flood Pit Drowner. Just see if we can get some damage here. And they don't know that the true name's coming. They might let it through. They're just taking it. Looks like. True name coming in. True name chooses you. Kiwi fruit. You are going down. If they draw a Lord, we could always bounce this back to our hand and step and then play him out. This is a good late game card. I've just had stuff to tap out for every turn. Auto-warring our Hull Breacher. I can't interact with that. Just so they can draw a card around Hull Breacher. That's fine. I think this card sucks, for the record. Like, I know everybody plays it in their Merfolk deck. I'm not a fan. It's an island that gets wasted. It can occasionally do cool stuff like that. Yeah, they were just seeing what they would draw. But like, there's no race in True Name with us unless you have like Shieldred's Edict and can like destroy all their other creatures and then Shieldred's Edict. Or like the other day, somebody dress downed me and I'm like, dress down. I haven't seen that card in a while. Oh, okay. I like the deck a lot in the current configuration with all the disruptive elements. I feel happy that we cut a couple 1-drops. I don't want to cut 2-drops. We will, in many situations, just force a Chalice on 2. If they're spending 4 mana and you're spending 0 mana to counter it, that's a pretty good exchange. But we didn't there just because we never drew 2-drops, and we were right in not doing so. This is a high-risk, high-reward hand. Because if we Island Vial, it's potentially great. Like, we can just gradually curve up. Even if we don't find lands, we have lots of great top-end threats. If, however, they just go Ancient Tomb Chalice, it's basically GG. We could draw land and curve out of it, but maybe they don't even bother doing that. I don't know. I'm worried that that we won't get there in time. But the deck does seem kind of slow for a deck that has Ancient Tomb in it. I'm going to keep this. And I'll have a bunch of egg on my face if they do that Chalice play. But note that I called it out and I'm not getting caught like out of nowhere. Okay, this is fine. We can race constructs, I think. Lava Spur. So these are going to be big and hasty constructs. And you wouldn't do this if you didn't also have... Oh man, they've got a lot of stuff in there. Wow, more stuff. Don't Chalice me. It was such an explosive turn, my goodness. And it is the freaking Chalice. Wow. Full punish. Absolutely punished for keeping this hand. Let's see if we draw a land. We do. Okay, so there's a little bit of hope here. I'm just going to play this out and I'm going to pass. This Vial is dead, but, you know, we've got Voldovian Hexcatcher and Silvergill. We'll just Silvergill and try to find a force, probably. They don't have an Ancient Tomb, but they don't need it now. They could, like, Nadu, effective immediately, basically, and just pay 1 mana to equip Nadu repeatedly. It's not the best, but it's not terrible. I think the play is Silvergill here. And I'll just show them the Lord. And I am very much looking forward to finding a force, if we can find that. We took out all our dazes, which would be terrible here. Flip it can deal with a construct, which I suspect we're going to get like total construct beatdown. However, it's worth noting True Name can block constructs all day long. And again, I'd be stunned if they have a way to answer constructs in the deck. Interesting, the main phase. Oh, that was in step. Never mind. I just got confused because I'm an old man. All right. Okay, so here's the second one. Probably getting just another Petal or something. I'm not sure what they could have in their deck. Shuko. These are some giant constructs, that's for sure. Pithing Needle. What are you going to name? Flood Pit Granner? Wasteland? Okay, that makes sense. They have a Cavern. Joke's on you, I can't counter anything anyway. Lava Spur Boots equipped. Okay, so we're taking 13 here? Freaking insane. Yeah, we'll take this, and then we're going to be blocking with True Name for a few turns if we find a land. That's a big if. And it has to be an actual land. It can't be just getting completely destroyed by their insane hand. There's the force I wanted 2 turns ago. So we could Flood Pit to stun one and then just chump and hope to find a land the subsequent turn. We do have to Flood Pit now if we don't want to have to discard. I'll just discard. I don't need this Vial. I can go ahead and attack them because I have Vigilance. Let's do that. Wait, this doesn't have Vigilance. I got confused. All right, shame concession. Shame concession. Good games. All right. Yeah, I can't beat that nut draw. Sorry. The trophy's dead. We did trophy yesterday, but we didn't face people doing like 6, artifact things in the first turn. I think that's an exaggeration. It was like 4, maybe 5. Okay. First Revenge. Famous player of Stoneblade, which is probably a good matchup against us. So I think this hand's fine because we do have like the geometric thing. It's not geometric, like just the linear scaling in our creatures. Somebody who is familiar with the exact term could tell me. Yeah, just to be clear, I thought about it for a second. It's arithmetic growth, I think, is the term. Like arithmetic. Okay, so I'll say focus on the actual task at hand. But sometimes when I'm live commenting, I do go down like little rabbit holes like that. But like each additional +1/+1, you're linearly increasing the damage output of each creature. Okay. They're fetching. Probably getting planes because they play tons of basics. Here's the Stoneforge. I think this is so instrumental to their deck that it is worth just dazing and doing nothing for a couple turns. And it is a 1-for-1, thankfully. But it's a huge tempo setback for us. Especially if they force here. Okay, so we killed like Ding Dong, the Witch is dead. She's the main thing that their deck does. But we're like really far behind. And also they may have Dress Down or something like they're precisely the kind of player that would be playing kind of old cards like Dress Down that we need to worry about. Back to basics. You will find no quarter here. Back to basics. Oh man, that feels so good to just laugh off of Back to Basics. Well, let's go ahead and Silvergill here. I will reveal this Lord of Atlantis. We draw another Lord. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. That is a 3-mana play that will do literally nothing against us. Teferi, an annoying card. Yeah, I'm going to force it. I'll just force pitching one of the lords. I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal. If they have a Spell Pierce, it's devastating. But yeah, I don't want to deal with Teferi for the rest of the game. All right. Let's just... I mean, this is an opportunity to true name, and then we're dealing more damage subsequent turns. I think that's actually fine. I think if they had force, they would have used the force there. They're not going to be able to dress this down. They may have a card like that just wipes all creatures. Supreme Verdict. Mountain, okay. Narset, that's fine. I don't draw cards with my deck. I've already drawn the one card I'm going to draw likely. I will kill her just to not have to deal with her. Let's see what they reveal. They reveal Jace. Okay, Jace is going to die at a true name too. True name is just going to be like, you know, doing like the little checks as he takes out these creatures. All right, so we have a conundrum. Are they likely going to wipe our board? I don't think they are, and I think it's fine to just go wide. I think it's a risk for sure. Well, let's take a look. All right, I'm happy to report that in the list that they were playing, that they got a 5-0 finish with yesterday. Congratulations, First Revenge. They are not playing any sweepers. Hence, I am just going to go wide. Lord of Atlantis. This is the Lord they, in theory, know about. Merfolk, Master of the Pearl Trident. All right, so let's kill Narset and let's kill them. It's a glorious thing. They do have a plow. They're going to keep Narset alive for a turn. It's okay. They are taking some serious damage here. So they'll get another look off Narset. But again, it's going to be like for a 1-for-1 answer. They fish down to 11. They could do something dramatic here to take the Monarch, for example. They just tapped out of their Jace mana because they're playing tons of basic lands. Ponder again. And this is the price of playing basics. Like they probably have 0 cards in their main deck that use Mountain. This Mountain should be in their sideboard. Maybe they have a 4th Aer Lingus. And this is what I'll tell people when they like insist on playing basics, that it's a folly. Like you really don't want to be playing a 3-color deck with tons of basics, in my opinion. Just because you get into situations where you can't Ponder and Jace the same turn cycle. Not that they would have wanted a Jace there. So, but anyway, like that's just my thinking on the matter. So looking at their list, because we can, cards that affect us, they have 3 blasts. This is that Staticaster is unlikely to come in. I don't think it's good against us. Yeah, I don't see a single red card in their main deck. I think it's a huge mistake to play a basic Mountain in your main deck. Just put it in your sideboard. My goodness. Like, why do people insist on playing their Splash Mountain in their main deck? It's such a liability. Anyway. Yeah. So I don't actually know that we bring in the Hydroblast at all. I don't think it makes sense to, because they're like, we'd be taking out good stuff. I do think we take out the Hull Breacher. Makes sense here. You could also make an argument for Force Negation. No sweepers in the board. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they board out, because like so many of their cards are probably dead, like Spell Pierce. Like you wouldn't want to be playing that against us. Harbinger's definitely not coming in here. So yeah, I think it's just the Hull Breachers, and then we just take out Dazes, and I guess I could bring in a Force of Negation. That is hard castable. Tideshaper can actually like disrupt their basic planes and stuff. Like they're on basics, but we can actually screw with their basics with and color screw them this way. I kind of like that. Yeah, I think Force Negation comes in before Hydro. Just because, like, let's say they hypothetically Pyroblast your card. Like, it's a 1-for-1. Big deal. Move on. You know, you don't need to get into a protracted, like, force fight. This is a bad hand. Is this a bad hand? We don't necessarily want to go down. They almost certainly took Back to Basics out of the deck. I think I keep this, and we just hope to draw another. Like, yeah, this is a fine hand. It's just that it doesn't have as many islands as we want. That's the only downside, really. So they're probably going to get a basic island here at some point for our Tideshaper. We got a second Tideshaper. I'm just going to go ahead and play the first one out. Eventually they will fetch an island, but they want to use Prismatic Ending or Plow on this. I'm totally fine with that. If you're looking for a good budget deck, though, this is a good budget deck. Like, because it only plays 2 dual lands. You could probably build this deck for like less than $2,000, maybe like $1,500 or something. Okay, so they have given us the island that we need to attack in. with 2 power. They are going to be casting the Stoneforge Mystic. It is a scary card here. Oh, counterbalance. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Let's see. Is there a way to sort this by mana value? Oh, yeah, we can do this. Okay, mana value. So they have a total of 12 2-drops. 25 0. Okay. Wait. 1-drops. They have 25. 25. We're not going to be resolving 1-drops, 2-drops, 3-drops. They even have a lot of 3-drops. They've got 9 3-drops. So that means we're really going to be hard pressed to resolve anything. Okay. So if we're going to resolve one, though, it makes sense to do it now. There's no point in playing out these wastelands, by the way, because we don't want them to get snagged just in case they get back to basics in their deck. We might be able to surprise take one of their lands. All right, so I think the play here is Master of the Pearl Trident because Flip It Drowner, we might get a chance to snipe later. If this gets countered, I'll be bummed, but there's not a lot I can do about it. 9. Oh, they did have it. They had a freaking Stoneforge. Okay, we're probably dead. This counterbalance is really good against us because we only cast like 1 spell a turn. But it's worth noting they don't have white mana yet. Okay, they don't have anything to do. They could have a Brainstorm on top, which is terrifying. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pass until they Brainstorm. Maybe they get impatient and they Brainstorm. I have to be patient. We are doing damage to them. So I think there's a risk that they do have a Brainstorm in hand. And if I Hull Breacher, then they'll just Brainstorm. But they may not have a 3-drop, but they probably have a 3-drop. Again, they have 6 3-drops in their deck. I think I'm going to go for it. They're clearly struggling over there. They can Brainstorm on top of this if they have the Brainstorm. They reveal freaking Teferi. Oh my goodness, my counterbalance luck is so bad. 6 in 47 chance of getting that countered, by the way. So devastating. And that was like our card, basically, that was going to lock them down. And now, if they do find a land, they can just hold up land, Brainstorm for the rest of the game, and we'll never resolve anything. Like that, it's basically like a guaranteed... Vile is going to get countered. I'm going to go for it, and then maybe they set up their deck to counter this, and we get something else through. Of course, it gets countered. So frustrating. I hate this card. I'm sorry. Like, because it's just capricious random. Like, our opponent, as far as we can tell, they may have stacked it to where it does have an answer to that, but like, yeah, and they could just Brainstorm. They already know to shuffle, and then that gives them another look. Just automatically, they get another look. And maybe I'm playing wrong, and maybe I shouldn't. But like, how does the game get any better if we sit around? They've got Prismatic Ending, so this is going to die even if they don't counter it here. All right, we'll hit for 3 and we'll pass. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be tilted here. I'm trying so hard not to be tilted by them countering 3 of our spells off freaking blind flips. 2 of them off blind flips. Let's put it that way. And they were big, important freaking spells too. There's no way I could have tapped to also to play this Tide Shipper. So they've got Prismatic Ending for this. If they want it. They've got this. They are shuffling, so they don't know what their top card is anymore. So I can... Okay, Batter Skull. So I think what I have to do here is just Flood Pit Drowner and hope that works. And I have to do that now during this turn cycle. I'm going to play this land out. I'll try with the Flood Pit Drowner and then... Because like if they reveal a blue, then I'll know not to Tide Shipper. That's the most likely thing they reveal here. Of course, it's a freaking Snapcaster. I'm sorry, I'm trying so hard not to be tilted, but this is freaking BS. Okay, let's cast with Kicker. This won't be countered unless you also have a Brainstorm. They just force it. I am done. I'm done. I can't stand this card. All right. There are rare moments where you're going to see me being tilted and whiny and whinging and... Yeah, it's just like, I don't like cards that introduce even more freaking variance into the game. I understand that people will stand by that card. I think it sucks personally, but it randomly is great and people get really excited. Like, yeah, I countered something. Most of the time it's going to be but we just saw like the 2 standard deviations out what can happen. And I do believe that the probabilities of those things happening were vanishingly small. All right. And, to be fair, First Revenge, she's a super chill dude. Whom I've talked to, he acknowledged that the counterbalance was nuts. Okay, so did anything change? Well, I don't know that they like days may actually be okay here. Even though they're doing lots of basic stuff, there were lots of windows where we could have potentially dazed them. I think force negation, we're trying to stop their creatures. I think daze is worth bringing in. We are trying to tempo them. The game does get worse the longer it goes. They do likely have dress downs. I actually only see one dress down in their 75. And we only have these 3 true names. I think Flood Pit Drowner is fine. Hull Breacher would have been great. Dockhand is actually really good against them because they play like so many basics. And when you play basics, you're just asking for people to color screw you. I think if we're playing so many dazes, we could cut a sink because we're going to be bouncing lands back to our hand. Oh, wait. What am I doing? I'm going to cut a waste instead of... I actually wouldn't be opposed to cutting 2 waste. We've seen 0 wastable lands from them. I'll just do 2 dazes. Let's do. This hand is keepable on the strength of a Aether Vial plus a force for... Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. And now I have to force Prismatic Ending, sadly. I will force a force on this as well, but I think most likely they're just going to try to Prismatic End it, and we need to pitch one of our lords. Silvergill drawing us a card is material, for sure. Okay, they are not Prismatic Ending. This is great for us. Okay, another sink. I'm going to play it. Yes, I'll pay the life. Silvergill. I will reveal a Lord of Atlantis here. I want to get the beats going. The reason you play these out first is they get scaled with the Lord of Atlantis. They may interact with this just because it's 2 for 1. That land is fine. It's not great. Actually, we're in a pretty good position. If by some incredibly weird stroke of bad luck, they have the back to basics still in their deck, then we're actually in a pretty vulnerable position. Going to definitely be ticked up, and I'll probably just leave it at 2. So we can crank out a Lord every turn. Dockhand's fine. I actually kind of think Dockhand is something we play out this turn. We could hold it for force. There's no reason to hold lands. we always play out the land. The reason for that is there are no brainstorms in this deck. I think I'm just going to go ahead and play one of these out naturally. And maybe they plow it, and they don't know that I've got another. Do you have a Snapcaster? There's the plow. That's fine. I am going to go ahead and just vial in another Lord. There we go. A little extra damage. And maybe we can color screw them. Yeah, I like having the bodies. I may not even use this force. If they give me like a Teferi, I probably just let Teferi resolve. Teferi could bounce Aether Vial. We're still forcing Stoneforge, but I don't know what else we force here. The reason we're forcing Stoneforge is them going and getting... There's their third color that is not super strong against us. That's fine. They could Snapcaster plus... I'm not going to take this up, by the way. We don't have that many 3-drops. Okay, this is actually great because if they Snapcaster, we can just daze instead of forcing. We could use the ability here, but I think it's stronger to just attack with everything. Okay, so I just dazed the actual... They can't block. I just put in another Merfolk. They can't block. I could just force the entire body. Let's see, they're at 15. Let's do some math. So this will hit for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 if I put this in. So they'll drop to 5. I'm trying to think of how they get out of that. This body doesn't even matter, but if they do have removal, they might be able to like stall me long enough. I'm sorry, I'm thinking really hard, and maybe this is just like an obvious, like we just force this. The problem is if they force back, they do plow. If they force back, it's a 2 for 2, but like we don't want them getting really any advantage here with the amount of life they have. Yeah, I'm just going to force this because it's a guaranteed 2 for 1. They don't have Spell Pierce or Pyro up. They're forcing with their own. That's fine. Okay. So I'm going to wait until... let's see if they, before blocks, that they point this at something. So I put in the second one. Then they just plow this. They plow the new one. And then this no longer has Island Walk. And it dies in an unfavorable exchange. I could just wait and let them block. And maybe they block the biggest one. But they should block the Lord here. Yeah, I'm not sure if there was like a better time to put this in. They're just going to plow this one. They have to plow now. Just plow this one, and then this dies too. And then I've got 0 lords. Yeah, and I think that they've just turned the corner and they win. Yeah, that force was really clutch. The other thing I could have done was just dazed, but then they would have gotten the creature anyway. Yeah, I'm not happy with how that came out. I think I screwed that up. They have 9 life, but there's no reason they can't claw out of here from this. So I think I just got outplayed. Yeah, and here's the Stoneforge. This goes and gets the life gain guy, Batterskull. We might be able to like put the token back in their hand. Yeah, there's Batterskull. I will take this up to 3, just in case I find like a true name. Flip hits is pretty damn good. I'm gonna flip hit now, just so I can keep piling on the damage. They could force this. Yes, they are getting close to just being able to hard cast it. So we can't put it back in their deck, but yeah, if they have another mana, they can just hard cast it, and then we have to deal with that. They drop to 5. We need another Lord stat. If we get another Lord, we can kill because they have islands. We can just attack through. It might have actually been correct to just attack for 2 and then like tap one of these in the upkeep, so they wouldn't be able to cast that. I'm open to that as being a superior play. We need a true name. We don't need an island. I think the game's over. This has Island Walk. I mean, I could at least attack through with this. This has Vigilance. I think we just give up. I mean, I want to give up for sure. I think this game is lost, but I'm going to keep playing because if I do find true name Nemesis, it's possible that like if we got like back-to-back true names, we're like 1% to win this though. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was just nothing I could do. Leave a comment with a timestamp if I just punted somehow that's invisible to me at my current skill level. But like it didn't feel like what we did was wrong. There's Teferi. This can bounce the vial. I can kill Teferi, which I will. They're going to continue to gain life though, unless they have a removal for this. This just having native Island Walk has been pretty good this league. I've been pretty happy with it, even though I haven't used the ability. I probably should have used the ability instead of getting that extra damage. I could have just locked down one of their lands every single turn cycle. And they never. Well, they would have eventually just been able to use the Stoneforge to put it in. So I don't think that would have made a big difference. Okay, we're breaking out. I am going to go ahead and attack Teferi here. Just kill him. You don't let him live. All right, and now I'm just going to go ahead and play out. I think I play out both the vials. They're not going to be playing Meltdown. It makes sense to just play out this island because I might draw, a force that I can hard cast or something like that. But at this point, they can like just put him back in. They can attack and put him back in the hand and like do all kinds of stuff. Like if I try to get rid of this, I don't know how I get rid of this game piece. I think I just have to outscale it with TNN, Turner News Network, True Name Nemesis. Okay, Hull Breacher's a find. I think it's extremely unlikely that we just get lucky and get them in some brainstorm at this point. Like they're not going to let us do that, I don't think. That's 1 damage. I could be tapping down the red source. I maybe do that. Okay, they've got a Caldra as well. Cryptic. Okay. We're not dead this turn, but we're very close. Just returning it to their hand, that's fine. So they've got a cloaked dude. There's land number 6. I just take all this. They gain a ton of life. There's no swingy thing I can do. It has to be true name. I could cast this, but I don't think it matters. And I want to... Maybe we get into some situation where they do like emergency brainstorm and we can get them. Round 4, we're up against Mahfuz VanGogh. He is always on Dredge. Various variants of Dredge. I think this could do it. This hand's fine. He doesn't have a ton of mana, so Hexcatcher could catch him. I think what we do is we just open Island. Then we have Daze Up. We have Force if he... like with Dredge, you force whatever you can. Okay, Undercity Sewer. Do they surveil a Dredger? No. They kept. Interesting. Like, what would they keep? Another land? Okay, so I'll just play this island out and we'll pass. We have linearly scaling threats that we can start deploying if our opponent stalls out. I think we just pitch one of the Lord of Atlantises here. Maybe it makes more sense to pitch Hexcatcher just in case they do have a way to remove one of our Atlantis. We do want to have Planeswalk or Island Walk here. What are they doing? Loam? Okay, this is probably still Dredge. I've never known him to play anything but Dredge, but that is an interesting interesting card for sure. So yeah, I think we just start playing out the scaling dudes. Yes, we'll just go blue, Lord of Atlantis. They're forcing Lord of Atlantis. Well, we can daze with like basically no penalty. I think we do that. If this is worth forcing to you, it's worth dazing to me. The card they pitched there was just an Archamoeba, so maybe that's why it's like this card is basically worthless in my hand, so I might as well just use this force to gain some tempo advantage. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Okay, double therapies in the yard. I don't think that's what they wanted when they milled there, but I will force whatever they cast here. Like if it's like a... okay, they're playing Bug. Interesting. Oh, that's fine. I won't force that. They're on the very slow Dredge plan, but believe me, once they get a Dredger, it becomes very explosive very quickly. So they can Dredge and then potentially Dredge multiple times. I know this might seem crazy, but I think it's correct to just go ahead and force this. And I'll just pitch a Hexcatcher just because it's like the lowest damage output, and we just want to clock them. All right. So it may seem, again, crazy, but they dredge this, and then they have another dredger, and then they have another dredger, and then that's how they win. Like once they start dredging, the game ends very quickly. Brainstorm represents 3 potential dredges. Okay, so now I am just going to play out another Lord of Atlantis, I guess. Playing out Hexcatcher is safer, just because in the event we absolutely need to. I don't think it's likely to matter. Probably shouldn't have done that because... if you think about it, they've already got like basically 4 lands. So the odds of this mattering are low. Like it would be crazy for me to sacrifice this when it's on the board doing damage. They mill a bunch of stuff. There's the Careful Stud. That was the card I was trying to think of earlier. The draw 2 discard card that kind of fuels them running, like puts the Dredger in their graveyard. They're probably going to surveil again. They are with Hedge Maze this time. Grave Troll. Okay, so we're basically dead next turn. Unless they just dredge now. Once they start dredging, the game ends. Okay, they're just picking up some land. It's worth noting that we do have Island Walk. Island of Walk. That is too late. I'm going to diversify my threats in case they have like some Echoing Truth type thing. Let's go for 7 here. They're dead on board, but they can still win. All my creatures have Island Walk. They have to win immediately. So we're on the draw against Dredge too. And this is game 1. You always lose game 1 against Dredge, basically. That's conventional wisdom. Except when you don't. Okay, so cages come in. I think Force of Vigor or Force Hull Breacher is actually pretty bad because they can just, they're dredging. They're not, they can do that as a replacement effect and just ignore you. They do have tech lands. I think Harbinger is fine to come in. Let's think about what's not good. I mean, that's a lot of cards we can bring in. The Grafdigger's Cages are non-negotiable. They have to come in. These Force Negation, I think, are strongly advised. In terms of cards that are unlikely to matter, I think True Name is basically irrelevant. Like, the Island Walk is just as good as never being targeted. They're not going to have, like, removal in their deck. 3 mana for a 3/1 is not where we want to be. Flip Pit Drowner is pretty meh. I can see us cutting that. Dockhand is probably, I mean, it gets on board early, but we have to kind of control them. So I think this could be a cut. Yeah, I don't think managing their mana or color screwing them, but because the Wastelands are part of my mana base, I'm not going to cut them. I think it's unlikely they have Wastelock, but they do have Life from the Loam. That is one consideration. But it doesn't matter against our deck. Like, our deck doesn't care. We've got 12 islands. I mean, Daze on the draw feels pretty bad. Especially, we just brought in all these Force Negations. They're probably going to play around it. We did Daze something. We dazed a pretty critical force. So that brings us to 62. I don't want to get too low on creatures here. We have 27. I don't know. Hull Breacher might be okay. It strikes me as probably not being good. The other thing we could do is we just take out the Vials. Because we're not... well, I'm kind of tempted to just take out the Vials. And just play fair and just play 1 card a turn. Because, like, we're pitch casting, so we're not going to have as many cards to play. And then I could just bring in a Hull Breacher Let's do that. Oh, I guess I can bring in 2. I mean, these hit for 3. They get scaled with the lords. It's better to be hitting for 3 than for 2 with the... Okay. This hand does not have the card. I think we mulligan this. Like, I know you might be thinking, like, what? You've got 3 forces. I don't think this is good enough. I really want to try to find the Grafdigger's Cage. We found it. Awesome. And we can't protect it, but we can stop their counterspell. Yeah, well, we can protect it because we have a force. Okay, so what I'm going to do is flip it. Silvergill's quite good here. We do have a second land. I don't want to get rid of that. So I think turn 1 is going to be Island Cage. Turn 2 is going to be Silvergill. So we do need to keep the Flood Pit Runner around for that. So I think we put back Force Negation. Yeah, I'm going to put back Force Negation. And then Flip It Drowner probably doesn't do anything against their deck, but it is like just another beater that comes out and it enables us to draw a card off Silvergill, which I think is not nothing. It's worth noting that he's probably playing, Boseiju and lots of disruption like that. But we're going to have to hope to get lucky here with our cage. Seth, that's great. No play. Otherworldly Gaze is fine. Again, like they're not going to have the mana to flash it back. They take a damage every time they tap this too, which is pretty good against our aggro deck. They're kind of helping us with that. They could get like a Narcomoeba on play or something. Okay, they put a Stinkweed Imp, Sink into Stupor. All right. So they are still able to dredge. That'll be good next turn. But we are going to put this cage out immediately because they can immediately start doing stuff with like Otherworldly Gaze and stuff. So currently, Sink into Stupor is probably the card I pitched to force here. Okay, they dumped a bunch of stuff in their graveyard. Put a land. They still can't cast spells in their graveyard. They can't cast like Dread Return. That's their win spell. They could cast What's-Her-Face from hand. That's his Oracle. I don't think wasting here is what I want to do. I think I want to get on board. I'll hide the fact that I have this Wasteland in hand. I mean, they have Loam anyway. I don't think wasting them is going to be particularly impactful. I think we just need to beat them down before they find an answer. Draw trigger. A Tide Shipper is fine. We can Tide Shipper one of their lands. I think it's probably better to just Flood Pit Drowner and Tide Shipper in the same turn cycle next turn rather than worrying about using the kicker ability. Then we'll be attacking for 6 a turn. They're going to get a Surveil here. I have Heart that Force of Will is going to help us kind of like protect this cage. We're all in on protecting cage and stopping them before they find an answer. Like Force of Vigor, lots of stuff. Probably in their 75 that takes care of this. And I didn't pull up their deck list because it's always Dredge, but they're always, experimenting and trying different lists. There's the Boseiju who endures. We cannot do a damn thing about this. This is huge against us. We just lost. I will go search for a land that has a basic type. Let's get this island in play. Yeah, and again, I called out specifically Boseiju as a problem card that we would have to deal with here. Now they can just Ceph Colosseum and just go crazy. They're loaming a bunch of stuff back to hand. I mean, at least we're getting a little extra time. There's the Colosseum. Once they start firing this off, it's GG, basically. I'm not going to force that. Again, I think we need to force something more impactful. They've already got plenty of dredgers in their yard. I think what I want to do here is waste one of these and then Tide Shipper the other one. That may seem extremely sclerotic, but like, what can we do? This will buy us like at least another turn of attacking, right? There might have been an argument for me doing that to the forest. I can't remember what lands they have in their hand. I suspect they have another fetch to use. So let's come in for 2 here. Next turn, we're going to be attacking for 2 or 4 and then 6. They have to dredge Loam and then replay the Cephalid Coliseum, but they can immediately use it. So I don't know that we really accomplished anything. And they may just ignore the Loam and try to dredge something else. They do have therapy for our force, unfortunately. And the problem with Loam and Boseiju is even if we do find another Grafdigger's Cage, it's not going to hold because they'll just grab the Boseiju again. They now have 3 colors. Okay, interestingly, they're not going for... this is fine. This card sucks. Obviously, it's not meant to be cast. It's meant to be dredged. But it does have Death Touch. It's just like a really weirdly worded Death Touch. Yeah, and I'm going to let this happen. So they probably name Force here. We can sink the token. It seems pretty weak. They named Flip It Drowner. Oh, we showed it to him earlier. That's why they named it. Okay, that makes sense. I totally forgot about that. Lord. Silvergill. Unfortunately, we can't use this. We need another Merfolk. They've seen our hand. They have another therapy. They don't have another therapy. So I think, like, sadly, I think the play is sink into stupor. They're token out of the way and just attack for... I'll play this land out. It seems extremely weak, but I think it's correct. We just need to keep the pressure up. So we do have force blue card if we need to stop something, but I don't know what we could stop that's going to matter. I'm just stunned they haven't Life from the Loamed and gotten Cephalid Coliseum. Like, what are they waiting for? They have everything they need to go off. They've got 3 dredging cards. 4, yeah. So they did get the Life from the Loam back. Okay, they get the Coliseum. They got 2 Coliseums and a Boseiju. Now they can use 1 Coliseum to trigger the other. Yeah, and now we're going to get totally buried. We do have the Force for... They know that we have the Force, though. They're the Narcos. There's no combination of cards we can draw here that can save us. They may have Force. They do play Force in their deck, I believe. They may have taken the Forces out against us. There's the therapy. Yeah, we're done. Yeah, because they can just clear the way, and then they can Dread Return with all the... creatures they have. Okay. So, very strong strategy against us. We're on the play. I think Daisy's come back in. I mean, True Name is unblockable, but I'm not convinced that he's good here. I think Hull Breacher can come out. I think it's just too slow. I don't think we really want to have any 3 drops. I think we just want to get on the board as quickly as possible. So I'll put these dock hands back in. So we're basically just all 1 drops and 2 drops trying to get out there, trying to scale. Our 3 drops are, if we get up to it, we have sync. Yeah, let's do it. I mean, they are playing islands. Like, if I was against traditional Dredge that wasn't on blue, or like had a very light blue splash, I probably wouldn't put so much stock in Island Walk. This is a mulligan. This is a pretty damn weak hand. I mean, we do have Force Negation for one of their effects. We can start sticking Lords. They kept 7. I don't really want to be forcing stuff. I want to just stick the damn thing and hope that they don't have an answer. Let's mull. I'm going to mull again. Okay, this is the cage. We're keeping this. Okay, we have to put like a lot of cards. So Force goes back. Force Negation goes back. Sync goes back. I think we put back Force. Yeah, actually, I think I screwed up. Let me undo that because I want to have 2 lands. So I'm going to put back Force. Force. Oh, I can't do it. No, I don't have enough mana. I think we just need to trust that we'll draw a land. I mean, I could put back the Silvergill, but like drawing cards is going to be pretty important, and I want to have something that I'm drawing too. Okay, hear me out. I think it's fine to put the Silvergill back and just go curve Graph Digger's Cage into Master. I'm going to do that. And if they just have the thing, they have the thing. But I would be surprised if they have more than like 2 Boseijus in their deck. This shuts off like their flashback spells. It doesn't stop them from dredging. Makes it harder for them to get dredgers in the yard, though. This is a very tough matchup for fair decks. I think if you're a combo deck, you just go off faster than them. But if you're a fair deck, it's pretty tough to control this. There's the careful study. So I think they likely do find a dredger, and they start the dredging clock. All right, they found a Loam. So Loam can slowly dig for Boseiju and a green source. We did draw an island, so I'm just going to play out the Master. I'll keep the Sink into Stupor in hand here. So they're going to Loam here. We'll see what they flip. They flipped a Narco, which they can use to block. They have a bridge. Oh, that bridge is a pain. Choose not to use it? Wait, excuse me? Why wouldn't you use it? They have like a Murktide or something? They really need 5 cards in their graveyard? I don't know what the heck is going on. Why wouldn't you play the Narco? Oh, wait, they can't because of Graph Digger's Cage. Duh. Okay, so this is just going to... They flipped another Loam, so they'll probably Loam back a land, and they're just going to be on the slow Loam train trying to find the Boseiju. We're beating them down for 2 each turn. We can get some tempo by sinking a Loam back to their hand maybe later on. That's not great. They could just have the Boseiju right now. There's a Brainstorm. They do not have dredgers. Oh, they have Life for the Loam. Okay, they hit another dredger. They hit another dredger. Okay, so this is why I said earlier when I force their brainstorm, you might think that was weird. Look at what they just did with one brainstorm. They just went from like 5 cards in their graveyard to 16. We have 0 pressure. We are not winning this game. They will eventually find a Boseiju and clear the path. But I think we had to. We had to dig for a Grafdigger's Cage. I don't think we would have fared better if we were just blindly attacking them down with a couple beaters. This is their turn 2 for perspective. And you could say, well, you should just put a bunch of Leyline of the Void in your deck. And like, I don't disagree. It could be that it is correct to just play 4 Leyline of the Void instead of Grafdigger's Cage. 6 cards in hand. Can we draw a creature? Force Negation. I think it's worth holding that up. I want to play this out. I'll shock. Just going to attack for 2 with pass. They have a second Loam, right? So it's not like we're going to get rid of both of them. We could hit 1 Loam just to slow them down. They chose to draw rather than Loam. Do they not have any more Dredgers in their graveyard? I guess not. I mean, if there's a world in which I draw 2 back-to-back Life from Loams, or 2 back-to-back Force Negations, and I can stop both of the Loams. Okay, Cephaly Coliseum, they can use that next turn. They can use that for Careful Study right now. Again, they don't have Dredgers, but they're going to load up. They have good Dredgers in hand that they can put in there. We're applying so little pressure, it's not even funny. Do I even play that out? Because then I give them perfect information. I think I do play it out just because if I draw... Gosh, I'm actually not sure that I do play it out. Because if I draw a Force, then I'll have another turn to play it out. Yeah, I'll just hold it as a mystery card. But I don't see how we're winning this game. They have double Stinkweed Imp in there. They mill another Stinkweed Imp. Still no sign of the Seiju, but it's coming. And they can resolve a Loam this turn cycle. And if they don't resolve a Loam, like they're going to find their other Loams. They probably play 3 of them. Maybe just 2. There's a Loam. You have Coliseum. So they can Coliseum into Coliseum. They can do lots of stuff here. I think there's very little risk in them Coliseuming because they can just find the Wincon, the Oracle, and win with that. Tidechipper can kick their green source. But they get Hedge Maze. They have another green source. If we kick and hit their Coliseum, it probably doesn't matter. I think I'll just hit this green source. They may not have another green source that doesn't come into play tapped. Like a Tropical Island. Actually, wait, I see a Tropical Island in their yard. So they may have to like Hedge Maze if that was what they were planning to do this turn. And then they can Loam like 2 turns from now. I don't know if it really matters. I do know that we're now hitting them for 5 a turn instead of 2. So they'd have to break for like 3 more turns basically before we win. Okay, they are Cephing. They mill Grave Troll, Bridge from Below, Unmask. They another Loam, so they do have a 3rd Loam. There's the Boseiju. Okay, so they don't have the green source yet. They can't clear this yet. So you get like an extra turn basically. They have 10 cards in deck. They mill again. There's 7 cards in deck. The Oracle is maybe in hand at this point. It's either in hand or it's in their deck somewhere. I don't see it here. This is the Hedge Maze, so this is how they're going to clear it in a turn. Actually, if we draw another one of these Tidechapers, it's pretty huge. That would be like super sick. I don't know that that would save us. Stinkweed Imp, okay. It's just as a blocker. All right, so we need another Tidechaper. Sink into Stupor. We can sink this back into hand. Then we can attack, but I think we're just going to die. We can't sink the actual... Oh, wait. So this is just until it dies, right? Yeah, so that's pretty bad, actually. I think we just have to sink and then... Yeah, they can... They don't have the mana to both Loam and Boseiju in the same turn cycle. So we will get another shot, I believe. Now we can attack. They're at 7, which is not close enough to dead. If they have the Thassa's Oracle... They can just dredge 6 and then just play it and win. They can also just replay their creature as a blocker yet again. There's the Loam picking up. Is that a Tropical Island? Yeah, they can play Tropical Island for turn and then they can hit us. Yeah, so I think we lose now. This is just going to unlock like all their Cabal Therapy, like create a ton of creatures. The only way we win is if we get a Lord off the top that can attack through Island Walk, and they don't somehow win the game this turn. I think they'll win the game this turn. Okay, Therapy. They're not going to name anything correct. It'll be interesting to see what they name. They just name force. Okay, that would make sense. Lone force in my hand. Okay, they're passing. This is great for us. They can still kill this end step. Lord, please. Oh, I think we're just dead. I can attack and pretend that I, like, what am I going to pretend that I drew? Like a force negation? They have 2 cards, 2 life. We have maybe one more chance to find the Lord, but I think we're just dead. And I can play out this island without giving them any new information because all my islands are the same art. All right. Actually, it wouldn't have mattered. I could just play the one that I'd shown them if I was playing different art. That would be fun and festive to play like lots of different, like all the best islands. Because this happens, we do go get to search for an island. So if we have a force in our hand now, then it's live, but we don't. So watch them dump their entire hand and win instantaneously. Otherworldly Gaze. Now they can create a bunch of Bridge from Below tokens. Again, like they can't kill us this turn cycle. They have 5 cards left on their deck. If we find one of our 8 Island Walk Lords, the game's over. No, wait, actually, the game is over if they pass the turn because this has Island Walk. So I just attack with that. But I can't see how we don't lose. Like I would just be stunned if... What? Okay, I guess they didn't have a way to win. They already disconnected. I was going to ask them if they had like the Oracle, like they wouldn't have the Oracle in hand. Wow. I did not expect to beat the legendary Mahfuz VanGogh with such a sclerotic mold of 4. But we did it. See you in the final round. We're 2-2. Final round. We're up against an unknown opponent with a perfectly reasonable curving hand. I'm going to keep this. I have no idea if this could just be comedic. If they are on oops all spells or something like that, but let's hope they're playing a fair deck and that we're going to be able to connect for damage a few times. I generally won't mill hands that are mediocre that have a force in the blind against an unknown opponent, but I'm not going to mill a perfectly good hand that would otherwise be fine if they're not on combo. And even if they're on combo, they could be on a slower combo where we get a couple turns. They're going to immediately know what's up. Nobody's played this card in like a year, I don't think, on MTGO. I'd be surprised if there are any trophy lists that have this in it. I think it's a good card, though. I think it's an okay card. I'm not going to say it's a good card. All right, Stompy strategy. Please Blood Moon us. You know you want to Blood Moon the Merfolk deck. Trinisphere, fine. Very well. All right, so I actually think it's better for us to just keep making land drops and just tap down their tomb. So they can't do anything. Connecting for damage is not setting the world on fire here. Let's set an upkeep stop here. I'm so glad I get to actually use this card for its intended purpose other than just like, oh, it's a 1-mana 1/2 that has Island Walk. I mean, the stats are great. The stats are insane. You send this back to like 1993 and everybody's playing Rishon Dockhand decks. You know what I'm saying? But it is still just like a 1-drop. Okay, so there's a mountain. So they're almost out of their grip. Fury is a card that's in these decks. So I think we just true name. I think we true name and there's no way they can answer this. They're like tapped out basically. And we just beat them down. They can beat us down faster maybe. That's like their option. The One Ring. You're welcome to One Ring. Again, I don't think it's going to draw you into an answer to true name. But I could be wrong. They could Pyroglyph into Pyroglyph and we could lose that way. Okay, so options. 1, we just sink. If we play sink, then we have the option of both tapping and Hexcatchering. We lose 3 life. Is it worth it? I think it is. Because we can lock down one of their mana sources and restrict what they can do. We just lock down the City Traders. Their deck is like basically 0 instants. And then they can only cast 1 spell even though they're drawing. I think it's worth it doing it. And then what I can do is I can end step the Hexcatcher in case they cast like some catastrophically dangerous card. Looking forward to putting my Hull Breacher in here. Magus to the Moon. Okay. Sure. Yeah. If you want to spend your turn cycle when you've got the One Ring and drawing all those cards playing on Magus to the Moon. It does technically help them not lose their city though. Hexcatcher coming in. We're going to hit them for a lot. Do we want to just keep scaling? I think it's fine to do so. I mean, Fury would definitely be really strong here. but I want to max. Ooh, yeah, I want to max damage. I'm not going to be forcing stuff. I'm just going to be trying to beat them down. They may just sack or block that. Yeah, that's fine. They're still taking 7 here, and they're at 6. And they're dead in 2 turns to our true name. Really 1 turn, because next turn I'll just play a Lord. Yeah, and they just tap themselves to dead here. I can't think of what they would do here other than play another One Ring. Of course, that's always a legal play with these Stompy decks. All right, they didn't. Thank goodness. Yeah. And if they played the One Ring, that would be basically their turn, and we just continue to develop. Okay, so this is a very fun matchup where we get to basically punish them for punishing everybody else. They lean into killing, like these multicolor blue decks. We're going to lean into killing them. So, Daze comes out. I think we take out some 1-drops because they do play Chalice, and we don't even give a damn about Chalice, basically. Chalice does nothing against our deck, but sure. These are not good here because they don't have islands natively. Tide Shaper is still fine. It's a mediocre card, but 8 1-drops. It's not that big a deal if they Chalice us. We did bring in the Hull Breacher. I think we do bring in the Force Negation just to stop their explosive plays. But that does mean taking out other good cards. Do we even care? Maybe we don't bring... I'm so used to bringing in Force Negation against Moon Stompy for years because I'm always playing I'm not playing 12 Islands. But this time I'm playing 12 Islands. Okay. Vial seems pretty good against them because it's unaffected by Trini. TNN's insane, of course. I'm not going to take out any of our lands. I guess I could take out a Sink. What would I do if I took out a Sink? There's not really anything I'd bring in. Another Force Negation. But I don't really care. None of their big Windmill Slam hammers are that big of a deal other than the One Ring. And we do kind of have the One Ring covered in Hull Breacher. And I may be punished for my hubris here of not bringing in Force Negation. So this is going to be a mull. This is a very mediocre hand. Yeah, this feels so mediocre. My goodness. Let's mull one more time. This is the best hand we've seen. I'm going to keep. I'm going to put back Sink into Stupor. And just in case they have the audacity to Chalice us on 1, I think it's fine. It's fine to put back an island. Yeah, because we can still cast the Silver Gale and hopefully draw into a land. We've got 11 more islands in the deck that we're drawing to. If they have a turn 1 Trinisphere, it is kind of annoying, but we'll gradually draw through it. What is Broadside? That does a lot of damage, but they don't have a lot of other cards in their hand. I think we just get the Vial ticking up and hopefully we'll get there. I am pretty scared. This is basically the one thing we don't want them to be doing is broadsiding us because it represents rapid damage. It doesn't look like they have another play. Pick this up. TNN. I'll go ahead and play this out. Revealing Master. Draw trigger. Another Wasteland. I can just waste their entire mana base next turn if I want to, now that I've got this Vial up. I think I probably will. I hope they throw this Mox at us. Or kill my Silvergill or something. That would be insane. They have another Mox. Okay. Maybe they just throw this Mox at us. That's fine. That was a 2-for-1. So Moon Stompy is famous for just having garbage mana despite the fact that it's a 1-color deck. I think I probably just take them off this Tomb. Then I can Silvergill and Master. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Because I don't have the double blue. And they're going to start running out of things to throw pretty soon. Tide Shaper's fine. It's not exceptional. They could Chalice for 0 and then throw that at the Silvergill. There's a lot of stuff they can do here. So I'm not going to block. I'll wait to the end step to put this in just in case they have... Okay, they had another land. So we're going to put this in. So now they can't Fury. They can still shoot it if they want to throw the Mox at it. I hope they do. I'd be very happy if they want to kill it with the Mox. But what you don't want is... Okay, yeah, that's great for us. Now I just hit this Red Source. And I do think that we actually just... There's a way I can kind of tap this with the trigger on the stack, I believe. Now I can put this in. Yeah, I'm going to put the other master in first. Okay. And now I can take this up to 3 for next turn. All right, I'm glad that worked. Take this land out. Do they have like a dead gun or a blast or something? Fine. It's dead. I'm going to go ahead and play this Tide Shaper out. Oh, wait, we're still in upkeep? I haven't even drawn yet? That was dumb. Okay, yeah. I'm unafraid. Hexcatcher probably actually would have been better than wasting there, but I think it'll be okay. I'll play this Tide Shaper. It's a blocker, but I'm not going to block because I don't want to lose both of these. I am totally aware that Fury is like basically GG. If they have it, it sucks, but that's just how the deck works. Like when they have a broadside out, they can Fury, kill our board, and then they can throw the Fury with the broadside. And they have 4 Furies in their deck. And that's probably how this game is going to end. But if it doesn't end that way, I think we have a fighting chance here. It doesn't seem to be ending that way yet. So what we want to do is draw a land so we can deploy this Hexcatcher. I'm not going to take the Vial up. Draw. Oh, wow. That's good. Okay. So what we can do is we can just Hexcatcher first. And then I have both Hexcatcher and TNN back. And I can do a lot of damage here. Let's go ahead and attack with both. And I'm doing this to get more damage because TNN is going to come in and then I'll double block there. And as long as they don't have something to throw, we'll know whether to double block. But I will get this off the table this turn. Unless they play out like some 0-drop, artifact or something that they're going to be able to throw. I choose you. All right, True Name Nemesis is going to double block with me here. And this is definitely a dead creature at this point. I don't think there's anything they can do to save it. They can't kill our Hexcatcher. What? They screwed up. They didn't even kill the Hexcatcher. Well, that's game. Why? I think they just... maybe block order. I'm not sure. You have to drag... Okay, so hopefully my opponent figures that out. But, okay, here's the Fury. And that is post-combat Fury. Have they done that? They couldn't have done that pre-combat, actually. So they can kill like a lot of our stuff here. But we're still going to be beating them down every turn. And they've got 2 cards. They've got no mana. I'm not too sweating it. Yep, there goes our board. Okay, Fury's in the grave. Yeah, I think I probably do just go ahead and waste the city here. Force. I think it's fine to just waste the city. They're so low resource. So the game's not over, but it's probably over. Like they would need, like almost everything in their deck costs 3 mana. And they're going to die in 3 turns. There's nothing they can do to stop that. Not any card that would normally be included in a Moon Stompy deck that I would know of. Play that out. I'll just come in for a hug. Our opponent's not conceding, which they don't have to concede, but I think it is a lock. GG. All right, so we're finishing with the positive record like heroes. Frank Cook of the Epic Storm says, like zeros, if you only do 3-2, I always 4-1. I'm happy to 3-2. This is not, I mean, this is, again, I want to emphasize. I did trophy with it previously, but I think maybe I got some positive variance there. This matchup, like beating Dredge was definitely surprising. Beating Moon Stompy, pretty unsurprising. I would say this is like probably like the closest thing you get to like a 70-30, 80-20 matchup. I mean, Moon Stompy, this is just like Moon Stompy's absolute worst nightmare. Mana disruption, the ability to play around, basic, like just having tons of basics. Days is kind of like pretty powerful against them. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And then True Name Nemesis is just like the chef's kiss. I don't think you want 4 because like he really does like. So the way I've heard it described is like 4 of everything. Like 4 is like you want to max out. The card's insane. A good example of being an insane card would be in this deck. Well, I mean, there isn't any really one insane card, but like obviously Force of Will is a 4 of, right? Wasteland is a 4 of. I would play 6-10 Wastelands if I could probably. And same thing with Force. Well, maybe not. I'd probably play 8 Force of Wills in the 75. But then if it's a 3-drop or for cards that you only want to see 1 of, then you should play 3. If you're like, it's not devastating to draw the second one, but like something like Life from the Loam, you're probably just going to want to play 1 in your control deck. Like it'd be like really annoying to draw the second one, for example. A card like Sylvan Library, potentially, you would never want to have like 2 Sylvan Libraries out because they don't stack. I mean, Grafdigger's Cage, a lot of people have 1 Grafdigger's Cage in their sideboard precisely for that reason. There's no benefit to having the second one other than just redundancy against removal. Same thing with like No Rods and stuff like that. No Rod, notable exclusion from this deck. If you had the money, you could definitely get a Null Rod and put it in the deck. And I think you could put it in place of Force Negation number 4. But I wouldn't go crazy with Null Rods. I don't think it's that great of a card. I think it's an overplayed card, and I think it is the definition of like a one-of sideboard card. I don't think I would ever play more unless I absolutely had like a nightmare matchup. But this deck doesn't really have any nightmare matchups. It's just got matchups that are relatively rough. It does kill people. It kills people if they get complacent, if they stall out. Like it absolutely punishes, and that's one of the reasons we'll be playing 4 Wastelands in here. Is just sometimes you just need to punish your opponent. I think there was at least 1 or 2 games where we had a Vial ticking up and we were just wasting our opponent and using our mana efficiently. I think Sink into Stupor, I did Sink a couple times, I think, during this league, and it's just a great card. Frankly, it's a great card in these types of shells where you already have tons of basics and you want like a flexible card. I think this card is so much better than Otawara. I would say Sink into Stupor is like a 9. Otawara is like a 5, in my opinion. Yes, Otawara is uncounterable, but like, just if you play a lot of Legacy, just play a lot of Legacy, and you're going to see how something like this is just really powerful, in my humble opinion. So, other than that, I don't really have any nuanced thoughts about the deck. Bloodpit Drowner is great. I think it is better than Merfolk Trickster, which was the card that it kind of replaced. We did get to use the ability. The match that I'm going to be kicking myself about, and I don't know that there's anything I could do about it, but that Jeskai Stoneblade, I do feel like that critical turn when they had the Force and we had the Force, we didn't know they had a Force, but we also had a Daze. Like, is it worth, forcing so what would have happened is they had a mana up, so the Daze was bad. The Daze could at best prevent the plow. It couldn't prevent the actual Force. Right? It couldn't prevent the actual body. And the body was material because it was going to block one of my creatures. I don't know. And then there was like also a play where I could have just... I could have delayed the arrival of the Batterskull by 1 turn by not attacking with Dockhand. Let's talk about Dockhand. By the way, but I don't think that would have mattered in the grand scheme of things. Once they get Batterskull out, Batterskull is precisely for matchups like this, in my opinion. And we never found like the Lord that would have given unblockability, so we would have been able to get our Alpha Strike through. And the game just slips away very quickly when your opponent's gaining 4 life every turn. So I think every card here is a lock. Like I feel like this list is very solid. Except I'm not sure about Dockhand. That's like the only X factor. I feel like Silvergill, I wish we could replace it with something better because we got lucky and we didn't face too many Murktide decks, or Bowmaster decks. But it's really embarrassing to be paid 2 mana and revealing a card from hand to just buff your opponent's Orc army, essentially. That's like not a good exchange at all. So it is material that, and like these lords do scale. The biggest criticism of Murktide is that it does require on you getting a critical mass of creatures, unlike blue-black tempo, where it's just like my 1 Nethergoyf can go all the way. Like your master of the Pearl Trident is not going all the way by himself, unless you're like even against Dredge. I think we had a Tideshaper as well, but you can't just protect the queen and ride a single threat to victory when all your cards are like very weak. Aside from True Name Nemesis, very weak in isolation. And True Name Nemesis, frankly, has been power crept out of the format, but I still think he's playable, specifically in this deck. I wouldn't put him in any other deck, I don't think. But we saw the inevitability that he lended us in certain matchups, and he feels great. I think the only other deck I would consider playing him in would be like Stoneforge Mystic decks, but I think you're better off just doing Crypticode. We did get to see Crypticode in action. I love Stoneforge. I don't think it's the strongest right now. I don't like basic Stoneforge, but we may have... some videos where I do some more Stoneblade, and if we do, we're probably going to do the basic heavy list. But again, I do think that mountain should be in the freaking sideboard if you don't have any red in your main deck. Like, don't put an off-color land in your deck, in my humble opinion. Just play 19 land and bring it in, or put like a random wasteland or something else to like improve stability. Sideboard, like people treat like, oh, you're consuming a sideboard slot. I don't think sideboard slots are that big of a deal. Like, it's fine to have 14 card sideboard and then just have a mountain as your 15th card. I don't think you're going to lose tons of games because you didn't have that extra blue elemental blast in your sideboard, or that fourth Force Negation. I am fully aware that I'm the only person that's so high on this card. I hate this card. I think it sucks, but it's totally necessary right now with Oops All Spells and Reanimator. So I am totally aware that not everybody shares my opinion on Force Negation. By the way, how sick does this retro border Force Negation? I'm still holding out on them printing a non-foil one so I can put it in my deck in paper. Anyway, I could talk all day, but like I had a great league. I had a lot of fun. It was great to just, take one of the bullies of the format, Moon Stompy, and just disassemble them. Final round, that felt great. It was great to get in that match against First Revenge. Mahfuz VanGogh, very chill dude. Check out his channel. He's just brewing on Dredge, and like he's just the Dredge guy. I can't be the anything guy, really. I just don't have like the attention span for it. Like I have to be jumping from deck to deck several times a week, or else. But I do respect people that just like hone their craft and get extremely good at playing Blue Red Delver and play that for like years. I definitely respect that, but that's not me. I got to jump around. Variety is the spice of life. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.